Joined in studio now by the Minister for Justice and Equality, Charlie Flanagan. Minister, thanks for joining us this evening. As we saw there in the headlines, you have just taken the decision to defer the commemoration. You had been defending it though. Is this an admission that it was a mistake to plan it in the first place?
No, I firmly believe that this was the right thing to do. It's now very disappointing. It's disappointing in particular for the thousands of people up and down the country, right across the island of Ireland, every county, whose ancestors served, many with distinction, in the RIC. And we are in the decade of centenary commemorations, and it's important that every consideration be given towards acknowledging all aspects of our history. Irish history is complex. Irish history is controversial. Irish history is sensitive. And I feel it's very disappointing.
But as you say there,
this is not going ahead.
It is sensitive. The history is sensitive. It is divisive and emotional. Why were you so surprised that there was this response to your plans?
I believe that aspects of this were grossly misrepresented. This was never going to be a eulogising of the Black and Tans. This was never going to be a celebration. Rather, what was planned was a solemn and sombre event commemorating the RIC, tens of thousands of RIC men who really have been airbrushed from our history. And I felt that one of the fundamentals of the decade of centenary commemorations was to acknowledge the rich tapestry that is Irish history. So I am very disappointed.
Now, you're talking there about what you had planned, but according to Dermot Ferreter, who's on the expert advisory group, what you had planned was not what they had proposed. He put out a statement saying that they had more in mind an academic event, a conference or seminar, something like that, not a state commemoration.
I'm not going to split hairs with Dr. Dermot Ferreter or anyone on the committee. What they said expressly was that every consideration should be given towards an event to mark the place of the RIC and DMP in our history, and that's exactly what we were doing. But I am determined.
Misrepresented his views and the views of the committee in terms of this
under no circumstances was that the case. Reading from his report, or from the report that he was involved in, it stated specifically that every consideration should be given to an event, and that event was planned. But I'm determined that this event will take place. It won't take place now. But it will take place, hopefully during the course of the year. And I invite Micheál Martin, who wants more consultation, I invite him now to those consultations, because I believe it's important that we honour these commemorative events in a way that's not politically divisive. And the reason why this issue is being deferred, why this event is not taking place now, is because of what was a very divisive atmosphere that was growing, and in the interest of public safety and in the interest of protecting the well-being of those families who were looking forward to the event, I felt it should be deferred.
Minister, this is just one event, though, in a series of commemorations that will take place this year and the coming years that are going to be divisive, are going to be emotional. How do you propose to handle that? I
believe it's important that we do so in a spirit of maturity, that we acknowledge our differences. Nobody is asking anybody to abandon or disregard loyalties. What we're doing is requesting that people broaden their sympathies. And this was made quite clear in 2012 when we embarked upon the decade of centenary commemorations. As Minister for Foreign Affairs, I was involved in many. As Minister for Justice, we're now heading to perhaps the most sensitive aspect. And I believe it's important that we work together, and I'm inviting the parties now to sit down and deal with this issue in a way that is less divisive than had been the case over the past few days.
And as you say, you're going to hold more consultations into those events.
Well, I'm determined that this event take place, because I believe it's the right thing to do. But it must be done. It must be done in an atmosphere of calm, in an atmosphere of reflection.
So it may take a different format then?
I didn't see that was the case.
OK, we'll have to leave it there for this evening. Minister Charlie Flanagan, thanks for joining us.